Virgos, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for November 7th through the 13th of 2016. I'm Athen, and this channel is about using the actual constellations in the sky known as Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, you'll want to check out the link down below because the signs are different, which means your sign might be different, and you'll want to watch this for the right sign. All right, so Virgo, this week we have a lot of things shifting. We have Mars shifting sign, Venus, and then later in the week, Mercury. So let's go and look at this one by one. It's definitely a week where things are changing in many ways, and it's really a continuation of what has already been changing, in fact, which was the new moon about a week or two ago, depending on when you're watching this. And this whole week is actually coming up to a full moon. The full moon will be on Monday of next week, which means as things unfold, there is a bit of momentum, there's a bit of awareness, and culmination of what has begun. And a lot of what has begun has to do with you. You know, the last new moon was in your sign, so it's really the time for you to be continuing with your independence, your personal needs, your goals, everything relating to you. And I think also your values. You know, the sun is actually now in your second house, helping you cultivate your material values on one hand, which is your finances, your resources. This could be a great area of focus and energy for you. Again, things culminating with that later in the week perhaps. And all in all, just tapping into your sense of self-reliance and self-worth and your natural gifts and your natural abilities, and feeling like, yes, you can cultivate your values in life. So a great source of energy there. And a lot of it's about receptivity too, you know, because the sun does rule your 12th. So when the sun comes into the second, it is about going with the flow, really accepting things and understanding that things do come in divine timing. And the more receptive you are, the more present you are with it, you're going to find that's more supportive energy there with the second house stuff like finances and values. All right, so let's talk about these shifts, because there are, two planets, Mars and Venus, right at the beginning of the week, shifting sign. This is going to be Mars going into your 5th house, first of all. So I think you can be finding that your self-expression is quite direct. And it's a great time to do that, I feel like, to really motivate yourself by what you're passionate about what you're interested in. Maybe take some action with your creative side, and this is self-expression fundamentally, but whatever the medium might be. Some of you might be art, which is the first thing we usually think of with self-expression, painting or cooking, things like that. But all forms, whether it's you writing things down, which is often the case, I feel like, because Mars does rule your 3rd. So really getting into your, writing and communicating and, that type of self-expression, creative. And then also, too, about expressing yourself in deep and meaningful ways. Mars rules your 8th. So openness, vulnerability, all this really coming through your self-expression, and I think your art or creative stuff or whatever it is you're creating, because not everything is like art. It could be spending time with your children, for example, because they're your creation, enjoying life with them. If you don't have children, maybe it's your hobbies, your interests. Maybe it's your work, your because we create our work, especially like small business and that type of creation. So whatever that is, great source of motivation, great source of energy. And I think you can find things certainly culminating as the coming weeks unfold there. Now, Venus, the other area, is going into your 4th. So maybe you can be enjoying a bit of your roots, your home life, family life, maybe reflecting on things a bit in regards to the past. Maybe when it comes to relationships, connecting on that more nurturing, caring, receptive level, intuitive level, if you will. And expanding your horizons too in such a way that when you are learning about things or going for a walk and you're expanding those horizons, really getting into the emotional side to it and reflecting on it and really asking yourself what it means to you on that deeper level. And even with the finances, Venus does rule the 2nd. This is where it's a really good time, I think, to be, again, maybe reflecting on the past in terms of the whole financial material stuff. Maybe reflecting on the past in regards to what your natural gifts and natural abilities are and where you come from in all of this. So as a result, either way, I think you can be enjoying a bit of that receptive energy, the more secure energy of spending time at home or with family, and again, reflecting on things a bit. Now, at the beginning of the week, we do have the sun sextiling up to Pluto. So this is, again, some positive energy for you to cultivate your values, Your sense of self-worth could be changing, at least it's certainly an opening for that. And it could be from whatever these changes have been occurring with your emotional self, which has been Pluto down there in the 4th. Then I do want to bring your attention actually to this aspect this week, which isn't going to go exact until next week on the 17th. We've got Neptune conjoining up to the South Node. So this is suggesting that there is some past unhealthy things collectively, and for each of us individually, these unhealthy things that are being released, and past patterns that we're breaking, and past cycles that we're breaking. And a lot of it has to do with the idealizations of matters, which for you might have to do with your work, might have to do with your self-improvement. You know, this is all in your 6th house. So most fundamentally, it's a really good week to ask yourself if there are any unhealthy things regarding your day-to-day work, regarding your routine, your self-improvement, these daily matters. And as a result, not only bringing some extra attention to that, but making some changes there. And maybe if there's been an over-idealization of some of these things, bringing that back into balance. Or maybe there's been an under-idealization in the sense that maybe there's lethargy, or you haven't been taking enough action with the whole work and self-improvement and stuff. And maybe, again, making some changes there. So whatever it is, the key with all of this is that it's all about you living in the present moment, you going with the flow, you accepting things for how they are, maybe getting a bit of alone time, a bit of tranquil time, meditative time, because this is your North Node in the 12th house, which is suggesting that this whole life path for you this year and next year is taking you in a direction of developing this, let's say, accepting connection to life, where you can accept things for how they are now, be in the present moment now, let go, surrender. And so I think that's the key to all of this. And of course, we can't have one without the other. It's not about just going into the alone time, right? It's about seeing that, yes, you can make some changes with your daily life. You can make some changes with your self-improvement. But the key, I feel like, might very well be this acceptance and developing yourself spiritually here. All right, so that's the North and South Node and that conjunction with Neptune. Like I said, as a backdrop to the week, not a major thing. That's going to be next week, but I did want to mention that this week's end, your ruler Mercury is actually going to be shifting into your 3rd, placing an emphasis on learning. I think it's a great weekend and next week to learn, maybe do some writing, some reading, some exchanging, some trading, if that's the case. You know, this has been a serious area. Saturn has been really helping you really build maybe solid communication, or really build solid grounded practical thinking. And so now with Mercury coming in here, this can be a very good boost of learning about it and getting into the motions of it. And maybe your work, your career particularly, can really benefit from a practical side, or again, communication, reading, writing, learning, exchanging in that sphere, because Mercury does rule your 10th. All right, so, and then in the weekend, the sun is actually going to be trining up to Chiron. So we're all going to be feeling, I think, a bit refreshed, a bit rejuvenated this week's end. And for you, it might have to do with relationships. And again, it might have to do with the sense of self-worth, the self-reliance that's really developing. So Virgo, to really simplify this week, that's the key, is the sun, I think, this focus on you continuing to develop your values, develop that self-reliance of yours. There is a lot of things shifting. I think it's a great week for expressing yourself, cultivating those things you're passionate about in life, which is Mars in the 5th, enjoying a bit of the receptive life, and learning more about your roots as well, which is Venus in the 4th. And later in the week, the shift towards learning, practical stuff, self-improvement perhaps, that kind of a thing. And this whole culminating time next week on Monday about your sense of self-worth coming to a culmination. In many ways, your deeper side coming to a culmination, because the full moon will be very close to your 8th house. So about what really matters in life. And I think you're going to find this weekend too, maybe quite adventurous. This full moon is helping you see the importance of opening your horizons, seeing possibilities. And that's been, Jupiter in your 1st house. And it's really the time for that, to be expanding things. All right, Virgo, so have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next week.